Hey, what's up guys? So I have a very interesting topic to discuss with you guys today on this episode of Get Better at Yu-Gi-Oh! And it is going to be regarding surrendering or giving up or admitting defeat in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it can actually benefit you in the game if you actually scoop up to perhaps go to another round or to perhaps not go into time. Because if you have ever played Yu-Gi-Oh! In a tournament, you have a certain amount of time in the entire match that you have to actually complete it in. And if you don't, you'll end up going to time. So let me go ahead and briefly explain to you guys whether you're playing online to go up in the ladder, or you're playing at a official Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament, and how it can actually benefit you. So first off, let's go ahead and go to some cards that can actually affect the game, whether you're going into time or not. So let me actually go over one card that actually won someone a YCS. This is Emergency Provisions. It's basically used when you go into time. There's another popular card called Aegis of Gaia. Another popular card when you go into time is Magic Cylinder. There's a lot of cards where when you actually go into time, usually that involves one player probably playing something that's stallish, maybe something like Final Countdown, maybe something like Yugioh, where they're just trying to stall in order to get their win condition off. And there are certain times where a card like Aegis of Gaia, Emergency Provisions, or just anything to heal up like really fast, like an android. Maybe you're playing some deck that can spam a bunch of psychics on the field, and you can heal up really fast, and your goal will actually be to win your opponent simply by timing them out or going into time and flipping up something like Aegis of Gaia and stealing a win. So there are times where perhaps your opponent is playing a stall deck, and you know that off the top of your head you're like, okay, I know he has multiple battle faders. Let's say for whatever reason you have drag down. You know that they have multiple battle faders. You're going into you're getting really close to that time limit, so you're thinking, all right, you know what, I'm just going to go to game 3, I'm going to send in my Royal Decrees, and I'm going to side in, something to stop my opponent from being able to stall. So that can be one way you can look at it if you're at a tournament and you're running into the time, because like I said, that is very relevant in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you run into time. And there's also, players that slow play in the game, and they do this on purpose to actually get a win with something like Emergency Provisions or something like that. They basically try to make the game go as long as possible, and you can actually call a judge over if the opponent is slow playing. Now, it's kind of difficult in some circumstances to actually decide if a player is slow playing or not. Like if they have basically, let's say for example, they have like no cards in hand, no card in field, like they can't really make a move, so they would have to just end their turn. There's like literally nothing they can do. But it's very hard for a judge to come over and say, okay, yeah, you're slow playing, because there are times where you legitimately need some time to make some calculations or think of the long-term effects on a game. Now let me briefly go over why it can be a benefit for you to actually quit on, let's say, Dueling Network or something where time is of the essence, where you can actually play more games and actually rank up faster. One popular card that actually steals games a lot is 6th Sense. This card probably will get banned. I wouldn't be surprised if it got banned, but it is a card, especially early on in the game. Let's say that you guys are both playing. You guys are at, I'd say about an even amount of card advantage. You guys both have like 3 or 4 cards. And then one player, MSTs, and he flips up the 6th Sense, and then he calls 5 and 6 and draws 6 cards. Like, that is a battle that you will probably lose. Now, I'm not saying at that point you should always give up, but there are certain times where, let's say that they are playing a deck like Mermails that can, OTK really fast. Let's say in your hand you have to have like, multiple MSCs, you have like one monster on the field that has, I don't know, 1500 attack or something. The Mermail player with, 8 or 9 cards in their hand next turn could probably do a lot of stuff, and they might be able to just simply just win the game next turn. So at that point, you can save yourself, even if it's 30 seconds. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gotten to a very fast point in the game where you can actually play an entire game with 5 or sometimes 5 or 6 seconds can make a difference between a game in Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, you can literally jump into a game, and if you open up really good, you're like, okay, I got this game in the bag. You can actually play multiple games, and that's where I'm getting at as far as the whole online aspect. So even online, when you're not actually playing and time is of the essence, although if you're playing on DevPro, time is technically of the essence. But there are other times where if you're playing on Dueling Network, it happens all the time with the Dragon Rulers, where one player will just simply quit out. And I'm not saying that it's a good idea if your opponent plays Dragon Rulers and maybe you're not playing a high tier deck to instantly just quit out simply because the other player is playing a higher tier deck. What I'm saying is maybe if you're playing, for example, let's say you play Evil Storms. You open up with triple MSC, you open up with 2 monsters to go for the standard Ophion. You go for your Ophion, you maybe have the Infestation, you have as backer, you only have like triple MSC. Let's take this scenario for example. Another player is playing Dragon Rulers. Now he's going to be able to, maybe pop. Let's say he goes and activates the effect of Blaster, and he pops your card. Are you really going to try to come back with, 3 MST and an Infestation as a back row when you're looking down, a Draco Sack and maybe, I don't know what else they'll have on the field. Maybe they go for something like Stardust, Draco Sack. Let's say they just make, something that's relatively good, and they've gotten rid of your field, and all your cards are essentially dead against them. Now, think of what you can actually top deck at that point, because, like I said, sometimes in Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you go for first round Ophion, set a bunch of back row, your opponent will just quit right there. And in that, aspect, you're actually getting in more games. So, like I said, guys, it is, a discussion video, but it is technically true that, you can actually, win more games in Yu-Gi-Oh!, whether it's at a tournament or if, you're playing online. There are times where surrendering is actually an option in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it will actually improve your game. And I did want to mention that it is actually always up to the head judge. In TCG, it's pretty much known that if you want to surrender, you can surrender. In OCG, however, it is actually different. You can actually... if you surrender, your opponent can actually say, I don't want to accept your surrender. But the other player can say, okay, fine, I'll surrender the entire match. And at that point, well, the other player can't do anything. But, yeah, like I said, a little bit different for the OCG. But I don't think there would be a player that wouldn't say, okay, I'll accept that you're going to forfeit this, this game, not the entire match, meaning, best of 3, but just like the one game. So, yeah, I don't really understand why it's different OCG and TCG. It's always best to, make sure it's okay with the head judge. Some head judges, they're a little bit more harsh on some of the rules in the game. But I looked up, I couldn't really find anything. Before, actually, you had to wait 10 turns. I know that was the rule before, but, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game that constantly evolves and stuff, so we got to make some additions to it. But like I said, guys, there are times where perhaps that you are about to go into time with a player, like I said, that can stall, so it might be easier for you to just go, okay, I'm going to forfeit, I'm going to side in my side deck cards to completely stop you from, getting your stuff up. Or you can actually, use time to your advantage and, simply just... forfeit in a way where that there's going to be time, so for sure next round that you are going to be taking it, because that difference in that one turn can make a difference between winning and losing a game, because remember that going into time is still a part of the aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh! But I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on it. If you have anything to add in addition to this, hey, definitely let me know in the comment section, because I want to make this a discussion video, because I think that us together, we could all get better by talking about this. But I definitely think that there are times in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it is appropriate to actually surrender, like I mentioned, in certain circumstances. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. If you guys want to check out the other episodes of Get Better at Yu-Gi-Oh!, I'll have the entire playlist down below. But thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Age Nice, out.